This is Dawn Compton, the pastor at Main Street United Methodist Church, and I'm here today to bring you our weekly Wednesday Word. So what I wanted to share with you is one of the things that I am blessed to be a part of. For a number of years now, I have been on the Mountain View District Committee on Ordained Ministry. And what that group does is it meets with our licensed local pastors and those who are candidates who are exploring and beginning the process of going into ministry as a clergy. And we interview them and we hear how God is working in their lives. We hear what they're doing at their churches and in the community. And it's just a great time to celebrate how God is working in the Mountain View District. We also then, it's a chance for some accountability for us to talk with people about how they are caring for themselves, how they are caring for their flock in their community, how they are learning and growing in the faith, and lots of different kinds of things. And it's been a really positive experience for me to be a part of this. And one of the joys about the District Committee on Ordained Ministry is that when we meet with new people who have been laity in the local congregations and they have felt that stirring in their spirit, that they are hearing that call from God to say, hey, I think you are being called and set apart for ministry. And whether that is ministry as a licensed local pastor, whether it's ministry as an ordained deacon or an ordained elder, in the different capacities that they are hearing this call, and they come to us as part of those first steps in that call and share that with us so that we can begin supporting them and resourcing them and helping them to answer that call and to fully comprehend, what they're hearing and how they're hearing it, and to make sure that when they get to that stage and they are finally able to be licensed or be ordained, that they have the tools and the skills and the knowledge that the United Methodist Church says this is what our pastors need to be a part of our ministry and to guide the churches that they are appointed to. And so we get to hear those stories, and what that does for me when we hear those stories, when we share that time with those people, it just gives me such a sense of hope for our denomination, that God is still calling people. In the United Methodist Church, God is calling people to serve and become clergy and to be a part of what's happening in our denomination. So even when we may get frustrated or we may be discouraged about what's happening, when we hear those kinds of stories, it is so encouraging and so hope-filled in hearing those stories. And so I just offer that to you to say is that, when you look out in the world and you see that things are different than they were decades ago, when we worry about the state of the church, what I can say is when I hear those stories, I have such hope for not just for our denomination, but for the Christian church, the universal Christian church. We're going to be different than maybe it was when we were growing up, and my grandchildren and great-grandchildren may worship God in a totally different way than I am used to. But what I have great confidence in is that God is still working. God is still doing things here on earth, and that we are still a part of bringing about God's kingdom here on earth. And that is just so exciting. And I am so blessed to be a part of it, to be a part of what's happening here at Main Street United Methodist Church, and to see how God is working here. So I just wanted to offer that word of hope today that I see, and wanted to share that with you. I want to lift up two things that are coming up just to make sure you are aware of, and that you are invited to be a part of. First is this Sunday on April 21st, we are going to have a prayer service at Chestnut Hill United Methodist Church in Lynchburg. It will be at 5 p.m., and that prayer service will be prayers specifically for the General Conference. General Conference starts next week, next Tuesday afternoon, and we want to just be a part of the many, many, many people who are praying for what happens there, praying for all of the delegates who are making their way there, praying for the decisions that are made, for the discussion that is had, and that through that General Conference we will have a positive next steps as to where our denomination is going to go. So if you would like to be a part of that prayer service, I invite you to come to Chestnut Hill United Methodist next Sunday evening, or the 21st at 5 p.m. to be a part of that service. We will also be partaking of Holy Communion as a part of that service. And then I also want to lift up our Stepping Stones program. We are going to have our second annual Stepping Stones night, and that's going to be an evening where the children will offer some music, some songs, and share that with their family and friends. And then after that, we're going to gather in the Community Life Center for some hot dogs. And that is open to the entire church to come and see these wonderful, precious children that are a part of what happens in our building pretty much on a daily basis, that I'm blessed to see whenever I come into the office and I see them walking up and down the hall, and that Beth and I get to spend time with every Wednesday as we do our chapels with them. So come be a part of that. Come listen to them sing. Come meet some of their parents. Get to know them. And just say we are so glad that you are part of this ministry that's happening at Main Street United Methodist Church. There is a sign-up genius for this event that if you are willing to help sign up to help provide the hot dog buns, help provide some of the condiments that go with that, some of the chips, some of the things that can help finish out that meal, we would be greatly appreciative of that. The sign-up genius is in the Friday notes, so look for that. If you don't know how to do sign-up genius, or you're not sure about that, you can just call the church office and say, hey, what is still needed, and volunteer to bring what you might have available to help with that meal. It's a lot of children and a lot of families, and we are looking forward to having that evening together on April 25th. It begins at 6 p.m. is when the program will begin. Friends, I hope you have a great rest of the week. I look forward to worshiping with you on Sunday, worshiping in person at 10:30 or worshiping online as we continue our It's Just Not True worship series. Have a great rest of the week. God bless.